for your job, but was, very interested.
Okay, gonna go live.
Okay, ready.
And that would be
Because,
good
I just
evening, good
am
afternoon, good
having fun to be
morning,
like, watch
ladies,
out for your
gentlemen.
job,
Oh, is that
but was,
me?
very
Who else is that?
interested.
Is me. Darn it! Whenever I refresh this, it always turns my speaker back on. Ladies, gentlemen, whoever, welcome once again to Nerd Week Live here on YouTube, brought to you by us, the folks at Nerd Caliber. I am Rodney Brown, editor in chief of Nerd Caliber, first person shooter on Facebook as a cosplay photographer, Burley underscore adopter on Twitter, tech journalist, and joining me tonight, back again,
Hi,
yay, is
hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. Welcome, ladies, ladies, gents, and those beyond the binary. I am Gogo Incognito, a longtime Nerd Caliber contributor, and I'm very happy to be on tonight because there's some stuff I want to talk about. Obviously, I know I was meant to go to ECCC. Obviously, I'm not there. I will be here. I think that's wise. But I have more love and time to give to y'all, so here I am.
outstanding and already waifu. Welcome, All Might. We'll go with All Might. Hi, Emily Carson. Hello, All Might. Ooh, you weeb you. Um, anyway, so yeah, one of the nice things about doing this show like this is that we're already complying with most of the coronavirus policies and guidelines. I'm remote here in the greater Boston area.
And I'm down here in Nashville, Tennessee.
See, working remote, just like they say you should do. And I don't know if you've seen this, folks, in our area anyway, in Boston, the governor just declared a state of emergency. So a lot of cons are kind of up in the air right now. The biggest cons coming up in the next month all happen at facilities that are run by the state. The Massachusetts Convention Center Authority actually runs the Heinz Convention Center, which would be Anime Boston in April, and the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center, which is Ace Comic Con in 2 weeks. So I'm kind of sitting here on tenterhooks, wondering what's going to happen. 135 Ha Wolf, hello. Um, yeah, Penny, waifu. Oh God, not the coronavirus. I agree. Definitely something that the folks in Nashville don't need to. I assume everybody down there is still recovering or dealing with the effects of the tornadoes.
We had, for those who don't know, we had an absolutely wicked tornado come through last Tuesday, actually, and it got a huge chunk of Nashville and a lot of surrounding area. So, besides the confirmed COVID-19 cases that we have, we've also all been out with our gloves on doing massive cleanup. And I just have to say, big ups to everyone who may be watching from Nashville or around because we all came together as a community and it's been great.
Excellent. Excellent for the recovery, awful for the tornado itself.
Yes.
Um, but we do have some news, and some of it's actually going to tie into this whole coronavirus thing a little bit. Actually, more than some of it. So we're going to start right off with the very first piece that sadly is coronavirus related, and that is, and this just dropped um, less than 2 hours ago. Disney has decided to postpone all filming of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was filming in Prague in the Czech Republic, because of coronavirus concerns. Apparently, the government of Prague has shut down all public and civil functions. Museums, libraries, everything has been shut down. And the folks at Disney Plus and their production company that's making this show said, "Yep, we're not going to risk it and just put it on hold." So we don't know whether they'll just shift um, to filming in another location. Like another part of it apparently has been filming in Atlanta at the same time. So there's multiple shoots, as happens in shows like this. Uh, but whether they'll just skip Prague altogether and continue on somehow else, adjusting the script or whatever they need to do, or if they'll go back, we don't know.
No, we don't know. And again, Atlanta has been okay so far. So, and I haven't heard. I have a lot of friends who work in showbiz down in Atlanta. I haven't heard of any major closings of production so far. So even if they keep what they've got in terms of why they need to shoot in Prague and whatnot for location stuff, and they change up the order of things, and they come down to Atlanta for a few months, it's going to be very, very trying and interesting for the for all productions that are going on. But I can't say anything bad about anybody who's taking precautions.
This is true. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there who are criticizing people for being, overly concerned. Be safe. Now, yeah, there's all sorts of data you can throw out about how infectious it is or how not infectious it is, mortality rates, things like that. You know, it is a new viral infection that we don't have a vaccine for, we don't have a treatment for, and is rapidly growing into a global pandemic. Whether it turns out to be anything worse than SARS or MERS or any of the others, we don't know. So be safe.
We don't know. And speaking on someone who used to be a professional healthcare professional, I want to say when people say, "What is up with these quarantines? Why are they saying work from home? Blah, 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 blah." It's not just about you. It's that if so much of the population did end up getting it at once, our healthcare systems and healthcare professionals would not like. There are only so many beds at a hospital, there's only so many clinics that can take people in. So, this sort of like, schools stay home, production stay home, that is in part to make sure that the people who do get it can be taken care of, and the people who can avoid it don't end up having to like cram for a hospital bed when there's only X amount of beds and there's the XYZ amount of people.
Exactly. I believe I saw a stat recently that said that currently in most major urban areas, 90% of the emergency room beds are already taken at almost any given time. So, you stress that just a little bit, and that's a big problem. And I want to point out, Gogo mentioned that she has a lot of friends that are in entertainment down in the Atlanta area. Georgia is a huge, huge location for doing filming because they have tons of infrastructure because the state wanted them to.
Yep.
There's a huge state film and television tax credit program, so you see shows like The Walking Dead and others, many others are actually filmed in Atlanta, whether they're set there or not.
I mean, think about it. Y'all have probably seen so many times, and it doesn't even register. At the end of a show, it goes "Made in Georgia," and there's a peach that comes up. They don't do it at the end of every show "Made in Georgia." Some of them do, and that also has to do with state of Georgia.
Right.
You know
They have to put that in there if they get the tax credit. Um,
that exactly.
all right. But moving on, and I'm throwing you a curve, Gogo, because since it's coronavirus related, I'm gonna jump over one and then get back to another one. And that appeared on your screen right there, that's Daniel Craig running away from the coronavirus. No, that's not actually what it is. It's a screenshot from the upcoming Bond movie, No Time to Die, which you've probably seen the news that it's not nearly as upcoming as we thought because they've rescheduled the premiere out until November. November 25th in the U.S., November 12th in the U.K. So this movie, which was supposed to come out in May, I believe.
I believe.
Um, oh, April 10th.
Oh wow. I thought it was like May 1st or 2nd. Okay.
No, no. This movie was supposed to come out on April 10th, and because the studio is so concerned that they will lose a ton of money, um, uh, with people not showing up to theaters on their premiere, that they've moved it out to when they hope that all this will be behind us. So, not a whole lot to talk about there, except this seems to be a trend that's growing.
This is what Rodney and I were actually talking about right before we went live with y'all. Is that this is a trend? We're seeing it with Bond right now. You're going to be seeing it a lot. Some of it may not be obvious though. It may come in under the radar. One of the things that's going to be happening is that major studios who've had blockbusters that they're planning to put out for spring, summer, etc., like the summer blockbuster season, a lot of them will be holding back on those because they need those big opening weekends. They need that, like, that American weekend, the overseas, wherever they start off first, they need that. And but they have to put stuff out. So we're going to be seeing smaller features come out that maybe, the studios aren't, they didn't put like the huge media budget into, they aren't pushing as much, but this is something that we're going to be seeing more of. It may just not be as obvious.
This is true. And Goop, welcome to the show. When you say glitch, are you just describing something in general, or are we glitching? I'm noticing that we're stuttering a lot, and I'm going to blame that on the coronavirus. Or it could possibly be my connection, although I'm on a 100/100 FiOS, so I should be okay.
I'm
But
not hearing a stutter at all. I'm hearing us good.
I don't mean audio stutter. If I'm looking at the video feed,
Oh, okay.
our feed looks to be stuttering. Like it's really a whopping maybe 2 frames a second, or worse. So if that is the case, folks, I apologize. I'm not really sure if there's anything I can do about it on this end. But fingers crossed it improves, and whatever glitch demons are in the cables between me and whatever internet server I'm initially hitting, that they all go away. So look out for more of this going forward. As Gogo said, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, and I get a lot of announcements from marketing companies that are involved in promoting movies because we have screenings that we go to for our reviews and so on. And I get announcements about changes to release dates pretty much every other day at this point. Not a whole lot of them really big, and so far nothing to the size or scale of a Bond movie, but it's going to keep happening. So sorry about that for all of your favorite entertainments out there. Willie, welcome to the show, and thank you for letting us know that you're good enough. Maybe it's just my replay here, that my replay is glitchy. But anyway, moving on to our next topic, which is actually going back to the topic that I originally had in the Bond spot, which has nothing to do with coronavirus this time. So we're off the coronavirus stuff. That is a picture of Aya Cash as the new character for season 2 of The Boys, Stormfront. Aya Cash has been around apparently for a while, done a lot of things, including some shows that I really, really like. Let me go back to the IMDb listing, or movies that I like. Fosse Verdon, most recently, the TV miniseries. She played Joan Simon.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
So good. Okay.
yeah.
Looking your gallery for that. So good.
Yep. She, for the longest time, 2014 to 2019, she was in a series called You're the Worst, which I don't really know anything about.
Me neither.
Yeah. But was Jordan Belfort's assistant in Wolf of Wall Street. So she's got some chops. The character Stormfront is a gender swap from what the character is in the comic books. It's a male character in the comic books. That's about all I'm going to describe about the character. And I would advise you, if you are interested in The Boys and you have not read the comic, don't look this up. Don't do a search for this character.
No, because the character in the comics.
So what I'm saying is, don't get any spoilers, and hopefully you're not about to spoil this from the comic book.
No, I was just going to say what they've portrayed of her sounds a lot more nuanced.
Okay, let's stop with that. The site that we found this first notification on spoiled what would be a spoiler to anybody who has not read the comic in like the first paragraph. And it's horrible. I mean, in my mind, it's reprehensible that they would do that. So just take my word for it. The picture looks great, obviously. The character is very interesting, very fundamental to the storyline of season 2. But if you haven't read the comic, do not look this up because you will have a big thing spoiled. And that's really, I think, all I really want to say on that because I want to make sure we avoid spoilers. Other than looking for season 2 release date.
They said sometime this summer.
Sometime this summer.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so now moving on to something that we don't have to worry about spoilery stuff. And that is, we finally found out when we're going to get to see CW and DC Universe series Stargirl premiering, and it will be May 11th on DC Universe, and then the next day, May 12th, on the CW, and it will continue that way through the run of the series. New episodes will be on the streaming service, and then the very next day, if you don't want to pay for the streaming service, you can watch it on wherever CW is, in your local broadcast or cable, which I think is a really cool platform. I like the idea. A trailer for it dropped back in late January that we didn't talk about for some reason. And it's amazing. If you're at all a fan of the CW DC Universe stuff, because this is Berlanti Productions again, like everything, Flash or Arrow or potential upcoming Green Arrow, Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, all of that stuff. It looks as good as the best of those, with like amazing cast. So this Courtney Whitmore is Stargirl, high school sophomore, played by Breck Bassinger. Luke Wilson plays her stepdad, who, if you know the character in the comics, has a very important role. But Joel McHale plays her actual dad, her biological dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So you said you watched the trailer, yeah? Go.
I watched the trailer. I enjoyed it. I don't know who Stargirl is.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Well, she's an interesting character from the Justice Society of America, which DC Universe is too weird to explain where that started, and basically it's another group like the Justice League, except on an alternate Earth. And Stargirl is the inheritor of the powers of Starman, basically through picking up that staff. Starman is played in the series by Joel McHale, and at the risk of spoiling something in the trailer, near the end of the trailer, you notice the very wounded guy with the beard that Luke Wilson's character is talking about the staff. That very dramatic reading was Joel McHale.
I like seeing Joel McHale be given acting chops. I know there are a lot of people that are like, oh, he did The Soup, he did Community, he's just a goof. I know, I really think he has chops, and I'm really excited to see this. Again, this is another character, and CW has brought out some, that in various, there are people in Arrow and whatnot that I'm like, I don't know who this is. But it was exciting to learn about them, and if this is in keeping, as Rodney says, with the quality that we've come to know, if you like one, again, it's at this point, it's like you can't not like any of them. I mean, you can, but come on.
Yeah, I have problems all the time with a lot of the stuff that happens. The the hilarious pseudoscience on the Flash. The
I had to stop watching the Flash.
Oh yeah, the insane silliness on Legends of Tomorrow. It's Legends of Tomorrow is essentially somebody's Greg Berlanti's version of the Muppets as a superheroes. It's just out there. Scott Lane, howdy doody, welcome to the show. But I'm really looking forward to. I really like the idea that part of what this story sets up is that Stargirl ultimately winds up forming a team of other young people that go out and fight the main villain of the story. And I think that's one thing that's been missing from a lot of the CW stuff. And we've got Titans, and some of them are in fact teens. That's on DC Universe, and it's, they drop the F-bomb all the time. It's way, way darker than anything else that Berlanti does. all of the other shows are super adult dramatic. They're basically soap operas with superpowers.
Thank you. That's it. There have yes. There it's nerdy nighttime soaps.
Exactly.
And I've tuned into them all, and there are some that I am very happy to put on in the background. Again, that's why I say there's something for everybody, even if you're not watching it prime time. There's still something fun.
Yep. I will say Blue Lightning is a little bit more of a straight up action adventure, good guy, bad guy, villains type of storyline with a lot less of the soap opera drama. It has some of it, but as compared to Arrow or Flash, way
Oh
less.
gosh, I know Arrow.
I mean, and again, I love Arrow, but still. Um, this is something that I think they've been missing. Something that will draw the younger audience with a younger crowd, a younger group, and it'll be interesting to see how Berlanti crafts that and pulls it off. Um, if you can say he successfully went way more adult with Titans, uh, let's see if he can go somewhat less soap opera-y without getting super silly like Legends with Stargirl, and I'm hoping because I just really want to see. No, that's kind of spoilery if anybody hasn't seen the trailer, but Luke Wilson as a regular character as a superhero, that's a win. Um, yeah. Anyway, so moving on to our next topic, and that would be. So it's confirmed. We talked about this a while back. There was a big rumor that they were courting Christian Bale to be the villain in the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder, the fourth Thor movie. Wow, that's tough to say.
Fourth Thor movie.
Yeah, well done, well done, Gogo. Um, Thor number 4 movie, um, and they confirmed it. And if it was confirmed, apparently by Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie from the Thor movies and Avengers and so on, who literally just said it in an interview on like some red carpet premiere thing. Said, "Oh yeah, and Christian Bale's going to be our villain, and that's awesome." And kind of,
script, and that's all I can say.
what's that?
I think she said he's going to be our villain. I've read the script. That's all I can say.
That's right. That's what she said. So she has 100% confirmed it.
Yes.
And of course, since I think the character he's going to play is Dario Agger, who is the leader of Roxxon Oil, who is the major villain in the Jane Foster run of Thor in the comics, and has been alluded to in a whole bunch of other MCU properties, most notably Cloak and Dagger. Roxxon is a huge part of Cloak and Dagger. I picked of course, Christian Bale from American Psycho in the fantabulous suit because Dario Agger is the CEO of Roxxon.
My Batman.
Well, okay, sure. And he was an awesome Batman. No question about that. I think he would be an awesome villain, whichever villain he plays.
Oh gosh, yes. Again, you're right. Because if we talk about American Psycho, what an amazing, charismatic, and perfect job he did with bringing that Bret Easton Ellis novel to life. I mean, that is an iconic role. That is cult Americana now for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Um, uh, to the extent that my son decided he wanted to start wearing really nice suits because of Patrick Bateman, which bothered me a little, but not too much. He's a handsome guy.
Don't let him listen to like Huey News while he's like wearing it.
That would have bothered me a lot more. He was listening to like Viking death metal, but anyway, so Bale is definitely it. My money is on that he's playing the CEO of Roxxon, but he could be playing all sorts of other characters. There are people who are thinking that he might even be the God Killer, which is a completely different Thor arc, aside from the Jane Foster run. It happened sort of it's kind of hard to say concurrently because it takes place over, you know, literally billions of years of time. Uh, but it takes place after Thor has had his right to wield the hammer removed, which is why Jane Foster gets it. Not exactly why, but anyway, read the comic or watch the movie when it comes out.
Um, I have to say, I don't really care who he plays. I'm not as invested in who it is. I know there's a lot of people making a lot of speculation. That's fine. I just think, we had Goddess Kate as Hela. They're chewing the scenery, like, and I think it. I don't. I mean, again, Taika is uh, directing this, and I don't think he would go down at all and like I think we're going to see these villains again that can keep their own. We're going to be like, what, we want to see what they do. They are going to be bringing the almost the cult of personality that we know that they can do, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just excited to see it. There was one thing in the article that we read earlier that said that this may actually give Christian Bale the chance to bring some, joie de vivre, some happiness to the role of a villain, because we know that he can put on the cape. We know that he can take superhero stuff very, very seriously, but we also know he can bring some real fun to like dark roles, and we may get to see that again.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that.
Well, and think about what Taika Waititi did with the villains in Thor Ragnarok. You're right. Hela was just so. She had so much fun. Kate Blanchett had so much fun playing that character. There's no question. But Goldblum as the Grandmaster, just, like, he was. You would
Perfect.
expect him to burst out laughing at any second. He was just having so much fun.
Yeah, it makes me want to just like, I'm like, oh gosh, when I was much 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 younger, I was in an agency that did extras for movies, and I got to be in some like way back in the day. Kind of makes me wish I could go back and just like, can I just be an extra on one of his productions, please? Like,
No, no
I
reason you can't.
yeah, well,
Cameron, welcome to the show. Claps back. Um, yeah. So, and if he does play Agar, the CEO of Roxxon, the character has always been written as incredibly charismatic. Um, yeah, he's a horrible, horrible, horrible person, but he is a ridiculously charismatic corporate leader. And Bale would just be perfect for that if that's the role.
we shall
We
see.
shall see. But since we've been talking about the man from the Kiwi land, that is of course Taika Waititi. It's time to get into more Taika Waititi news. And the image that just popped up in front of you is, of course, not Taika Waititi. Um, it is from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the previous movie, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the most recent one with Johnny Depp. Um, Mainly because I like this one better. But the news is that Netflix has brought Taika Waititi on board to write, direct, and executive produce two new animated series for Netflix, uh, both based around Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. The first one is going to be a look at the characters from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It says, inspired by the whimsical world and colorful characters of. The second series is going to be a wholly original take on the Oompa Loompas.
Oh, Loompas.
I'm so excited for. I'm so excited for both of them, but I am so excited for that. I, I don't know for sure, but can you imagine a What We Do in the Shadows about Oompa Loompas?
I mean, I mean, anyone who says that oh, that style may be overplayed, no, it is not, because only Taika is really doing it. Taika, and I mean, I know it was Taika and Jermaine Clement for the movie,
Right?
and came back to do some stuff for the show, but it is good, it is fresh, And Taika is on fire right now. And honestly, I think that we could do a whole like nerd caliber special on like the wonders of Taika, and keep talking for an hour, and then be like, oh gosh, we should stop now. Um, I think what he does again, I haven't watched. I have in my queue to watch Jojo Rabbit, which I'm a little bit like, okay, 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 I get it. But this is a guy who can take some very, very sensitive subject matter and make it whimsical and open your eyes and be cool about it. And also, let's all stand a wonderfully non problematic human who is, committed to diverse cast and to LGBT and doesn't shy away from any of that stuff. So bring it.
I want to see an all little people cast with characters that are, like a behind the scenes, like a what we do in the shadows. Just, when they're not in the factory, they're foul mouthed, they're human, they're, please, please make that show. And we don't know. I mean, that might not be at all what his take is going to be on the Oompa Loompas. Um, and that's part of the thrill. It's his brain. Something awesome's going to come out of it. No. No timeline on this, of course, because they literally just announced it. So we don't know when these series will hit. Generally, from announcement to these things, it's a year and a half to 2 years. So I don't think we'll see anything prior to 2022.
Yeah, we know he's working on other things currently, but this is exciting, and it's great to see again a director who's done the right things continue to get these opportunities. And Taika, big fans over here, so
Yep.
keep doing what you do.
Sames and sames. All right, now moving on to something that I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. So
Well,
that,
I
but Gogo's going to tell us how she feels about this one. That is, of course, Gaston and LeFou from the Beauty and the Beast live action, and the news is that Disney Plus is going to be making a Beauty and the Beast prequel series centered around Gaston and LeFou, starring Luke Evans as Gaston and Josh Gad as LeFou, just like from the movie. Um, that's a lot of money that they're throwing at people. Uh, is it gonna be amazing? Well, first off, it is going to be. This kind of surprised me. It's a limited series, 6 episodes, musical.
Yeah, I saw that. That doesn't make it any better. I'll I'll wait till you're done.
No, no, go, that's pretty much it. I have an opinion, but it's not nearly as I think exciting as yours.
Oh, I don't know if mine's exciting. Mine is just, as a, especially like, an old school Disney person who grew up with all this stuff, especially someone who has been loving and cosplaying mostly the villains for a lot of my adult life. We think about villains that we absolutely love. We just talked about Christian Bale as being a charismatic villain, and that is one thing that we all love. I think also, we could spend an hour talking about charismatic villains that are problematic at their core. They're not good people, but they have charisma, they have charm, and so we find things to love about them. We could they could do something with the Beast. Not really a villain, misunderstood, whatever. They could find things with Ursula. I mean, they could do so much with Ursula. They could do so much with Hades. So much. Instead, I get it. These are great actors. They had, good charisma, whatever. They can both sing. They're good looking. They're available. But you have Gaston, who is a misogynist, sexist jerk. He is ageist also. He wanted to kill the beast. There is no redemption arc for Gaston. He doesn't want Belle to read. He doesn't want women getting ideas. Um, this is not really about LeFou. LeFou is just a lackey, and we can say what we want about him being in Gaston's shadow. If anything, if they were going to do this, I'd love to see like LeFou kind of break away and be like, why do you support this guy? Unrequited love, fine, whatever. But this is what I don't understand is because this is a prequel, they can't give Gaston a redemption arc.
Right.
So it's 6 episodes of what? Him being a jerk butt and being misogynistic and singing about it? They can't. And like, if they try to do a thing where it's like, oh, he had his heart broken. No. No, Disney, you have such a pool to pull from. So why would you take a villain that we all cheer when he dies? He's not redeemable. And if you try to redeem him in these 6 episodes, you undermine the actual story.
Because people like watching horrible people. Um,
Just sad.
Look at any television that's out there that's really popular and tell me I'm wrong. Um,
Oh,
Now, one of the problems is to do it. Steel Goss Ice Gamer, welcome to the show. And I'm sorry, I don't read Hebrew. Is that Hebrew? No, it's not Hebrew. I don't read that script either. Um, so, but welcome to the show. Um, One of the ways that this could work, if it was not on Disney Plus, is they do it like um, the Showtime series. I can't think of the name of it. But like Better Call Saul, um,
ah,
where you've got somebody who is absolutely, just a horrible, reprehensible person, but is kind of likable, and therefore, it makes an interesting show. It's Disney Plus, so they can't do that. They can't let him be that horrible.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like when you said we love watching horrible people, I immediately thought like Mad Men, like those were not good guys, and Breaking Bad, these are not great guys. But it's interesting. I mean, we could even talk about Soprano and Oz and all these things where we're watching people be bad and we're so invested. But this is a 6 episode musical. I'm sorry, with Josh Gad, like one of the most buoyant humans. I know some people absolutely can't stand him. I know some people are I know some people love him, whatever. But like, this isn't. They're not saying this is gonna be dark.
No,
This is a musical.
it's a Disney Plus,
It's
based on
so,
a Disney property, like a
yeah.
Disney Princess property. There's no way it's going to be dark.
No, it's like a buddy show on the road, and it's like,
So,
why?
fingers crossed that what they do is they lean really hard into the gay subtext. That I would love that. I think that'd be wonderful.
That is a good
Again,
answer.
it's Disney; they're not going to do it, but
No, that would be great. And that's something that's also been brought up in various Disney discussion groups I've been in since this came announced. Is they gave LeFou like the sliverest tiny thing, and is this is it something where we're actually going to get some actual queer representation? Like, are we going to see maybe LeFou has a chance to like go off on his own? Maybe he meets someone. What are his reasons for staying with Gaston and having his back? But again, that's about LeFou. I really don't like. I don't know. Okay, fine. If like Gaston is your like musical Don Draper, have at it. I don't think I'll be watching it.
uh, and my guess is you will be one of the few that are Beauty and the Beast fans that won't watch it. I think because it's got Luke Evans, because it's got Josh Gad, because it's the same characters, and because it's Gad is writing a lot of it, co-writing it, producing it. He's got control over this thing. Um, I'm guessing there are a lot of people who are going to watch it.
In
Uh,
which we may actually get that gay subtext, which would be amazing. And if that's the case, then I will watch it.
there you go. Awesome. Let's hope. All right, we're moving into our last topic. Our next to last topic. Sorry, we've got one more here, and I'm going to do this one pretty quickly uh, because, that's not the right one. I just went back to. There we go. I'm confusing myself. Um, So that is Reggie Fils-Aimé, back when he was head of Nintendo America, and the man who created many, many, many "My Body Is Ready" memes, um, and ran Nintendo America beautifully. Um, he has not been with that company for a couple of years now, and the news is that he has just been appointed to the board of directors of GameStop, everybody's favorite game sales and rental punching bag. Um, what the news normally when somebody a company like that brings on somebody, even if it's a big name, it's not really big news, except that they also brought on two other people. So huge changes in the board. Um, the Bill Simon and J.K. Szymanczyk. Szymanczyk is the president and chief executive of PetSmart. And Simon is currently not involved in anything, but has been various executive roles in the retail industry. And the article I'm reading says it's pretty clear that what they're doing is they're trying to turn around GameStop. Give you a sense of why they need to turn around GameStop. It's a publicly traded company. 5 years ago, its stock was trading at $46 a share. Uh, Today, when I checked, it was trading at $4.3 a share. That is a more than a 90% drop in value, in stock value. And not because of the stock market crash. I mean, that's almost perfect little ladder or little staircase from 5 years to now. We can't call it a stock market crash. The stock market correction and volatility of the last few days. So whenever you see something like this with a company that's in that much of a difficult situation, uh, and it's a big enough company that they're not about to necessarily go under, because they have revenue run rate to actually continue operations. Now that their operations are a little bit smaller, and Gogo, you were going to mention a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. It was interesting when stuff about GameStop first started coming around. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I live right in the heart of Nashville, Tennessee, right in the city. And I had, at the time, three GameStops within a 5 mile radius um, that we frequented often, depending on which one was open latest, which one was closest, etc. One went down, and then it was almost like, falling dominoes. And I think now in the sort of greater Nashville area, which extends into a lot of um, going about 20 miles outside of, I think there's one, and it's in a major, major, major shopping area. That's all that's holding on. And I remember when this was happening last year, right before Dragon Con, one of my roommates at Dragon Con was actually a district manager of several. And I remember saying to them at the con, I didn't want to be like, so is your job in trouble? I was just like, how's everything's with sales? And, you guys doing all right? And they said, we're fine. And then lo and behold, if not 2 weeks later, when they got back from Dragon Con, one of their shops closed down and they were district manager of three. And they were like, wow, I think I may need to start looking elsewhere. And then boom, the next one went down. And then it just went, and it's just been, again, toppling dominoes of, again, these brick and mortar shops that it's sad.
So I want to give you folks out there just a real quick little lesson. And as a background, I've been covering tech corporations for decades and decades. That was my primary job for more than 20 years. When a company like this brings on board somebody with this kind of game and then retail experience onto their board, it's a publicly traded company. What they're doing is they're trying to either get their stock value back up by just having these people there and saying, yep, things are going to be run better, or they're looking for investment from either an investment firm who is going to buy a significant chunk of their share and become a major board controller, or actually go completely private and have the investment company, like buy them out completely. They're a publicly traded company. They've been for a while. That's a really, really desperate step for a publicly traded company to take. I don't think that's the case. I think they're either looking for somebody to some investment firm to buy a big chunk of their available stock, um, and get a bunch of seats on a board, or they're just looking to have Reggie's name, and these other people, uh, their names, elevate the stock as people start thinking, hey, Reggie did great at Nintendo. I bet he's going to do great at GameStop as well. And that's why these announcements go out there. Whether that is in fact something that's going to happen, whether Reggie does help turn it around or find an investor or whatever his mission is, that's still to be seen. It may just be that the go into a mall or go into a store and buy a game model is kind of broken at this point, with digital downloads and everything else. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe they just turn themselves completely into nothing but a reseller. Sell us your old games. Um, but that's it. That's really all that there's there to talk about as far as GameStop and Reggie. Wish him luck. Wish the people who own stock in GameStop luck, and the employees. Let's not forget that. That number has dropped a lot, as Gogo pointed out.
Yeah, I think we had, like, again, within a very close radius, we had three. If we wanted to drive a bit further, we had seven. There's one now.
So moving on to what I think is much, much more interesting, and potentially better news. That image that just popped up there in front of you is, of course, a screenshot from The Last of Us 2, which we were supposed to get a chance to take a look at PAX East, and then Sony bailed because of the coronavirus. Okay, so there's more coronavirus news. My bad. We weren't done. Should have mentioned that up front. But anyway, the news is, and this is wonderful news, is that HBO is planning to make a series based on The Last of Us that is going to be managed and written, so executive produced and written by Craig Mazin, who created the amazing, amazing series Chernobyl. And all the yeses, all the yeses for this. Now, I will admit, I've never played Last of Us.
Nor have I. I have not had. I do love apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic stuff is absolutely one of my favorite genres. I have an easier time watching it because I can always pause if I need to. If I'm playing it, I get a lot more invested. Excuse me. So there have been games over the years, like The Last of Us, Last of Us 2, that I knew were not in my emotional wheelhouse. Um, doesn't mean I didn't sort of follow along and watch some gameplay. Uh, the this looks like it's. I mean, I am very excited again because this is one of my favorite genres. Seeing it get this wonderfully critically acclaimed treatment, um, I think we're going. It's the whole joke of like video game stuff, brought to life is always cheesy. No, no. And I think we're really going to see something amazing and gut wrenching and heart wrenching, and I will be here to watch it.
Same here. So you talk about award winning, and amazing people and products and intellectual property involved. Last of Us won awards left and right when it came out. It is generally considered to be one of the most deep, narratively complex, action survival type games that are out there. Um, and Chernobyl just swept the Emmys. It won tons of awards. Producers, writers, cast. It was a fantastic series. It wasn't exactly apocalyptic, but within that, 7 miles or so, yeah, kinda.
And
Um,
I have to say, I actually did go to Russia on an exchange trip uh, years ago, and I actually did. We were taken near the Chernobyl site, and we were given the whole hazmat things and had the Geiger counters and all that, and it was so spectacularly awful that I've only been able to watch Chernobyl in bits and pieces. because it reminds me of that devastation. I mean, Chernobyl was on the mark.
Yeah, it's amazing, amazing series. I'm kind of hesitant about getting deeply involved in another series that's a post-apocalyptic survival kind of series like The Walking Dead. But then again, this is HBO, and the people involved, I don't think it's going to have the same problems that The Walking Dead did. And we also don't know how long this is, whether it's a limited series, whether it's intended to be a um, a multi-season series like Game of Thrones. Please, Mazin and other showrunners, don't leave before the end. God, please, don't give us another Game of Thrones. Um, but if it's like The Walking Dead and they try to stretch out too much content or too little content over too much time, that's going to be a problem. I don't see that as being the case here with the people that are involved and the content that's involved. So, um, fingers crossed. If you're a fan of Last of Us, if you're a fan of Chernobyl, if you're a fan of, as Gogo said, apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic storylines, um, you know, I can't wait to see who they cast for this. Oh, um, you know, there's so many young actresses that could play Ellie and just kill it. Depending upon what age range they want to finally settle her in for the series, it may be different than the game. Um, Joel, again, same thing. There are wonderful actors out there, and I hope that the Chernobyl people go out of their way and cast amazing actors of quality like they did for Chernobyl for
Yeah,
those roles.
yeah.
Um, and that's it, folks. That's our show for tonight. We went longer than I thought we were going to go.
Starting on coronavirus and we're ending on apocalyptic shows. So
Exactly. Not that there's a connection, folks, and just wash your hands, sneeze into your elbow,
absolutely.
stay away from big crowds if you can. All that good stuff. If you're sick, do not go out into a crowd. But anyway, from the state of emergency here in Massachusetts, I'm Rodney Brown of Nerd Caliber, and joining me tonight was.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. You can, if you want some levity or just some pretty pinup pictures or some burlesque stuff, um, you can find me online at gogo_incognito. I actually have held off on showing a lot of the tornado stuff because I don't believe in destruction porn. So I have been working on cleanup, but you will not see that on my feed. So no need to be triggered. Come look at some pretty pinup pictures. Gogo Incognito.
Highly recommended. And folks, if they're not canceled, like I said, you'll see us at Ace Comic Con in a couple of weeks. You'll see us. You won't see us at Emerald City Comic Con. Sadly, Dave flew out a week early to meet friends and found out that it had been canceled after he landed. Um, so our guy out at Emerald City Comic Con is not doing anything this weekend. So if you're out there in cosplay, look up Evil Dirty Dave on Instagram and see if you can get him to take some pictures or something. And please, let's not have that happen here, but you never know. So we will see you folks next week. Hopefully, hey, if you're in quarantine, what else are you gonna do? Watch our show.
Watch our show.
Exactly.
And
Night
also,
night. Oh,
happy thoughts, y'all. Happy thoughts.
happy thoughts, and clean hands. Good night.